What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, I'm Melissa. That time I remembered to say my name. Sometimes I forget. I'm recording this intro for in case purposes because there is a thunderstorm / tornado warning happening outside. I live in Florida. And while, typically I'll drive in the rain, it's fine. But the theater is about 30 minutes away from where I live. And if it's raining and thundering and lightning, and then there's a tornado watch, I don't want to be driving in that. So I'm recording this. If I film this all the way through, I survived and I watched the movie. So please appreciate my work for you guys. But I'm on my way to seeing Mean Girls, the musical. The movie that is, interestingly enough, not being marketed as a musical. And I don't think they marketed Wonka as a musical. They did not market The Color Purple as a musical. This is an interesting marketing tactic, and I wonder why. My theory was that because in the last several years, a handful of musicals that they released did not do well initially at the box office. So I think they don't want to scare people away. They kind of want to surprise you at the theater. But I mean, it's funny to think that people think that this is like a straight up Mean Girls remake when it's not. It is the musical theater come to life on screen. So I know it is very popular. It is beloved. I hear it's very good. I have never seen it on Broadway. I know Renee Rapp is a very well-known name in the Broadway world, and I think now she's also making her own pop and R&B-ish music. I have heard her sing before, her pop music, and she has a really beautiful kind of gravelly, raspy voice that I love. I wonder if we'll hear those tones in the movie. So I'm excited to see her performance. And, she is pretty much, I think they're positioning her as like the star of the movie. Like Regina George is the star. I can low-key say like in the original, the OG from 2004, Regina King, aka Rachel McAdams, kind of steals the show because she was so good at being a mean bitch, right? Okay, so I'm on my way out. Wish me luck on my drive, and I'll see you guys in a few minutes. What's up, you guys? I survived the drive to the theater in this rain. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of scared because during the drive I did have to go over a lake, and I was praying. I was thinking about texting my mom, but I made it and I gotta drive back home. So let's do this review. So Mean Girls 2023, in case you've never seen the original, the story goes like this. The story follows Cady Heron, who is this white girl living in Africa with her mom. In this movie, there's no dad. I wonder if that was because of budget cuts. They eventually move over to America for new opportunities, and Cady is going to an American high school for the first time. So understandably, as a young teenager, she is feeling kind of anxious and nervous, and we see her trying to make new friends. And this is where our story begins. She immediately catches the eye of the two friends that she makes in this movie, which are Damien and Janice. And then eventually we meet the Plastics, and they have a leader, and her name is Regina George. And Regina George, as we all know, is kind of the real star of this movie, and also the original, right? Because she is just so, she's the kind of character who is that villain that you just want to see be bad because she's just deliciously evil. If we want to talk about, comparisons, because it is hard to not compare, I will say I think this was a serviceable companion to the original movie. I'm aware that it's not necessarily a remake, right? Because they are adapting the Broadway musical for the big screen. I enjoyed some of the new elements that they brought to this. I think there are moments in the musical where we see some introspection from characters that we don't really get to see and you can't really do in a movie that's not a musical, which is what brings me back to the whole musical notion. The purpose of having a song there is because the characters have a chance to say something that's inside them that they can't really say with words, and we get to see what they're going through and what they're thinking and their emotions. And minor spoiler here in case you've never seen the musical, one of my favorite numbers that does that is a song by Regina George, and it happens during the Halloween party. That is the moment that stood out to me. It's my favorite moment. You get to see just, I would argue and say you get to see what she's thinking and moments of her vulnerability mixed in with her pettiness to be fair. But I really enjoyed it, and I really loved her costume for Halloween as well. I think that if you love musicals and if you love the Broadway musical of this movie, you will greatly enjoy this, because people in my theater were having a blast. People were laughing, people were excited. There are certain cameos in this that got them really excited, and for me, I did laugh a few times. I did think, though, this used way too many of the same speaking lines from the original film. Now, the problem with that is every time that there's a line and it feels like it's every other line that is straight from the script from the original one, it just makes me think of the original movie. If you're going to take something and you're making it fresh, which it's already fresh, you already have these musical pieces and these new type of songs that are in here from characters that we didn't really get to hear from before. You already have these new elements. You didn't have to bog it down with so many lines from the original movie. Now, I will agree that you do want to hear some of the iconic lines from the original movie, because as you are a millennial, I'm pretty sure whoever is watching, I'm a millennial, you have some of those lines from that original movie stamped on your heart, in your soul. It's injected in your veins. It's just part of the culture, okay? Fetch, of course. She doesn't even go here, of course. Like, those are things that absolutely have to be in the movie because nostalgia, whatever, I get it, it works. But there are even lines in here that weren't necessarily iconic to the original film. They were not iconically funny that are still in here, and I found it distracting. So I didn't love that. I think it should have just used some of the iconic ones that we all know and love, and just lean on the fact that you are a musical. Just use the songs that you created for this whole new experience. There are some other changes that I did take note of that they made in this movie, because this is a Mean Girls that is made to be put out in 2023. And because we're now in a culture where there's more globalization, some of the jokes have changed. If you remember, and I remember, Mean Girls 2004 is low-key kind of racially insensitive at times. It was kind of racist at times, let's just say it. And I think because, looking back, when you watch things that were made, 20 years ago, it makes you, oh my God, I kept saying 2023 in this video. Please pretend that I said 2024. It is the 9th day of the year. Give me a break. I forgot for a moment. I have to get used to saying 2024. I apologize. Anyway, so I think because they're aware that it's being made in this time, and people are a lot more aware, and we also have a lot more people using Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, that is the reason why they kind of had to change things up. And I think that was for the best, because there are some things in there that kind of plays into stereotypes from 2004 version, which, because of the time that it was made, I can still watch that movie and appreciate it for what it was. I still laugh at it. It's still nostalgic. It's just, it's just an iconic film, definitely, for my generation. I think that it definitely had to change because of what I just said, because of the time that we're living in now. So I get it. If you're wondering about my rating, remember I said I thought this was a serviceable companion to the original film. And I think I have to think about it this way. If I had to pick this movie or the 2004 movie to rewatch, I am choosing the 2004 movie each and every time. It just is what it is. It is what it is. You have Rachel McAdams, who plays Regina George, who took that role, and I think she is largely the reason why that movie became so iconic. She was so good in that. And of course, Tina Fey's writing, besides the racist jokes. And it's just, it was a moment in time, and you can't really recreate the magic. They tried, and some things in there are pretty good, and some things I thought were just fine. It was fine. It's not terrible. Again, I think if you like musicals, you will like this. If you love the Broadway musical, you probably will really like this. I will give this a 2.5 out of 5 stars. That may sound low, I know, but it's not. I just think I probably won't ever rewatch this movie. I probably won't play the soundtrack except for the Halloween song that Regina George sings in this movie, just because I want to hear Renee's voice. I love her tone. That's where I stand. When you guys go out and watch Mean Girls the Musical 2024, I said the right year, please let me know all your thoughts. I want to know your thoughts on the new characters, which are the same characters, but you know what I mean, the new actors, the songs. Have you seen the musical? Do you think the musical on Broadway is better than this one, or is this movie better? I want to hear all the thoughts. I want to hear from the Mean Girls fandom what they think of this movie, because it is pretty much like a millennial staple. It is a moment in our lives that I think, you know, that will die until the end of our days. Thank you guys so much for joining me and coming to the movies with me. I don't know what I'll be watching next, but I'll keep you guys posted on the community tab. If you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? Hit subscribe, hit the like, it really helps me out, and I'll catch you guys next time.